Blog Talk Radio.
The motherfucking saga continues.
Yo, what's up, world? It's badass thuggin' like I usually do, and you better turn it up, bust some speakers out, cause we off the motherfucking cuff. You dig how we do it? Dog Pound Gangsters 2000 and beyond. Blech.
What's up with it, y'all? Man, don't change that down. This your player partner, the legendary Cocaine. And you tuned in live to Off the Cuff Radio. Better not touch that down. Well.
Yeah, this is Cassidy, the hustler. And right now, you listening to the Guillotine. Show them the respect they deserve, man. Off the Cut Radio, man. Y'all already know how they doing it, man. I need y'all to stay tuned. They've been doing it for years, so show them the respect they deserve. And you heard it out of bars, mouth. Easy.
Keep it moving like this. Yo, this your boy Rampage. You're not rocking with the best. With Off the Cuff Radio. Classic. History. Fix your face to all you haters. We off the cuff, baby.
What's up, everybody? This your girl, Bonnie Dollars, the Queen of Trap, representing Crenshaw, and you are now tuned in with Off the Cuff Radio. What's up? What's up, y'all? This is Miss Irresistible, giving a shout out to the livest show on Friday nights, Off the Cuff Radio, and I'm live from the 704. Make sure y'all tune in for the blazing hot music.
What it ain't, what it do. Chili Chill from that original Lynch Mob. And Off the Cuff Radio, always where it's at on Friday nights. West, y'all.
All right, it feels good to be back. Here we are, episode number 617, live and direct, Off the Cuff Radio. I'm your host, King Eric, the Media Assassin. This show is sponsored by Buddy Boy Entertainment, Screwball Radio, Da Vinci Clothing. Got my host T-Max with the facts on the line. What's good?
Man, look, after the longest, we're back on Blog Talk, doing it the regular way that we always do. It is a magnificent Monday night. We are ready to go. That's our co-host here, Ilana Sandman and Lady Chinchilla. So, of course, DJ Sincere up in New York, 30 Basement Radio. And we are dedicated and devoted to giving you the very best in our hip-hop conversations. And our Brother King, if it is okay with you, I would definitely love to introduce our two esteemed and distinguished guests tonight.
Go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, when you think about the history of California going to the left on the west, you think about palm trees, Lolos, and 6'4". And, of course, you think about the cool breeze, sunshine, Ladera Drive, Baldwin Hills, Watts, Compton, all the places that give it its name and celebrity. And when you think about the music scene, you think about hip-hop, R&B, so many people that have come through. When we think about rap specifically, and, of course, gangster rap, we cannot do this show without properly giving the props, the flowers, and acknowledgement to two of the most esteemed, respected, and legendary figures who helped pave the road for the California hip-hop way in terms of where it started, where it was, and how it's going today. Without these men in the conversation, it just ain't the same in terms of the talk of the turf and the town putting it down. Without further ado, these two gentlemen, we are so proud and honored to have on Off the Cuff. Arnold Sullivan and Alonzo Williams, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
What up? Hey, this is Dusty Vision. Thank you for having us. And I definitely got to step back and give my flowers to Alonzo. I'm just some idiot who does a podcast over here. You know what I mean? My history isn't nearly as extensive and as great as Alonzo Williams, the godfather of West Coast hip-hop. We do a show for everyone out there. We do a show every Tuesday on NWA Stories with Lonzo, right here on YouTube, NWA Stories with Lonzo. I'm his co-host. I shoot him the questions, and he just kills the vibe and does his thing and makes it work. Definitely a pleasure to be here, but I definitely got to give the utmost props, respect, and love to my dude, Alonzo Williams. What up, Lon?
What up, Dusty? How you doing, folks?
We good, man?
What's going on?
I'm good, man. I'm good for an old dude.
Both of you, again, I was just about to say, both of you are definitely legends in terms of one who carries it on in the modern day in terms of the conversation with Dusty Vision Radio. Mr. Sullivan, you are just as essential and legendary for the fact that you are the living repository. You are the griot. You are the champion of communicating that history. And, of course, Lonzo,
thank you.
I mean, you know, your name is legendary. I mean, from world-class wrecking crew to, you know, really which would be the start of NWA in terms of laying that foundation. And even then your history is extensive. I mean, this is an honor. We had DJ Yellow on the show a couple of years back, and now we have you. It's like, this is...
Much love, folks.
Like bringing the full circle.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's definitely a good thing. I heard Badass's voice as soon as he started talking. He said, "Hello, world." I was like, damn, that's badass right there. R.I.P. Badass, Long Beach legend. I'm a Long Beach native myself, and, man, I miss that dude a lot. I mean, he was such a great guy.
Absolutely. We had him on the show some years back, 5'6" through and through, man. Definitely a legend, man. We miss him.
He was on my before they had podcasts, I had a public access show. He was one of my guests as well.
Mm-hmm.
He was hot.
Definitely. Man, look, when we think about the history of West Coast hip-hop, y'all, when we think about where it is today, how it started, a lot of people don't know that it really goes back to the 70s in terms of where it was really laying the foundation. Of course, the 80s is when it really came to prominence. It's so much we got to get into. So let's get to it.
Alonzo, why don't you take them back to the beginning? Maybe Alonzo can kind of give you an idea. Everybody out there who doesn't know about the West Coast, because while the East Coast was doing their thing, the West Coast was doing their thing. And Alonzo was chopping down trees and building bridges and breaking them down and helping people, and he is the rock. So maybe Alonzo could just take us back and let us know, you know, from your perspective, Alonzo, when hip-hop, you know, just came about on the West Coast.
You know, that's a good looking out, Dusty, because you know, we talk about and think about West Coast origins of hip hop. Mm-hmm. We have a different road than the East Coast. I think for us, we had the Watts Prophets and we had the Escorts. They was rapping in the late '60s, early '70s. They was rapping. It was a dance rap, but they was talking about it was political. It was political rap. In '72, '73, they started locking. I'm 14 years old. I'm trying to get my lock on. Okay, locking is a form of breakdancing. I mean, that was one of the first dances we had that it was more of a competition situation as opposed to a couple thing. Fast forward, shortly after that, around the same time, Soul Train came to California. Soul Train started in Chicago, and it moved to California. And we, as young Californians, we were heavily influenced, like most people were, with Soul Train and the locking, and all those elements were there. The only element I can't say was on the West Coast at that time was graffiti. We had 4 out of 5 elements here on the West Coast. Right. And in 76, 74, 75, 73, 74, we started doing dances. We all DJs became very popular. We started doing dances here, and I remember as a young DJ, fresh out of high school in 1975, I started DJing under the name Disco Alonzo because disco was the hottest thing going. That was the hot musical genre of that era, 74, 75, 76. I'm rocking Disco Alonzo. By 77, 78, disco was on life support. And by 79, it was pretty much over with, but the music was still well received in the club. So even at my club, Eve After Dark, which I opened in 1979, we still played some disco records. We had funk, disco. We was playing early Cameo, George Clinton, Parliament Funkadelic, Brick. All those songs were hot as fish grease back then. But we also had Lil Casey and the Sunshine Band. We didn't play a lot of Bee Gees, but we had the Donna Summers. We had Barry White was being played in the club. So all these things were a factor until about, for us, till about maybe 81. Then we started hearing more hip-hop records. The first hip-hop record we ever heard, rap record we ever heard, really, was Curtis Blow's Christmas rapping on the West Coast. Then they came out with Rapper's Delight, then the Breaks, and then we started hearing what's his name, Schoolie D. Schoolie D. Schoolie D came out, and a lot of the raps that came out of the East Coast in the beginning, outside of Grandmaster Flash and Furious 5 and Sugar Hill Gang, a lot of them didn't have a lot of dance potential other than the Planet Rock and the stuff like that. And we didn't really play a lot of it in the beginning, but as it became more electro funk orientated, that's what we gravitated toward. That was the shit that we played at Eve After Dark, and that was our inspiration. Between Grandmaster Flash, the Furious 5, Soul Sonic Force, and Africa Bambaataa, those were our influences in the rap game. Although I had just brought Run DMC to LA in like '83 to play Eve After Dark. All these things were our foundations prior to us becoming World Class Wrecking Crew. So, it was a little bit different. We were still wearing hard sole shoes to the Eve After Dark in '84. So we had a totally different origin. And for me, and we've had this conversation here on the West Coast quite a bit amongst ourselves, although the birth of hip-hop may have started in 1973, for L.A., it's more like 78, 79. We don't have 50 years yet. Eve After Dark will be 45 years old in 3 weeks. I opened the Eve After Dark June 22nd, 1979, and in 3 weeks to the day, it'll be June 22nd, 2024. That'll be 45 years of the Eve rocking. Okay, 45 years. And again, the Eve was not all hip-hop. It was a teen club, but it was not all hip-hop. We played a variety of songs, a variety of music. So for us, our 50th anniversary may be a little bit different than the East Coast, and that's something that's up for debate. But again, if we take the Eve After Dark as being the beginning, that means we cut out all the other stuff that I just mentioned, the lock-in and the escort. So it all depends on how you want to look at it. The road had been paved along the way quite some ways back, but it didn't intersect until maybe about the late 70s.
It
was there. All the elements were there,
but
it wasn't no hip or hot yet. It was just us partying.
Right. When
we were still getting tailor-made clothes in '75. We was going to the tailor to get clothes made for our homecoming and prom, and homecoming, prom, all those events at Gardena High School. You had to get a pair of custom-made pants. You wasn't wearing no tennis shoes or no so-called hip-hop gear. We was doing something totally different in '75. We did things in L.A. that they didn't do in New York. Like I said, our dress code was totally different. We dressed more like pimps and hustlers in high school than anything. That was our get down. We were smooth in the 12th grade. Shine biscuits, leather jackets, hats. We wore hats to school like it was nobody's business. If you go back to any Bill Cosby and Sidney Poitier movie, and you see how we looked in '72 in high school, bruh. That's real talk. So our whole demeanor was different.
Man, and getting all this history, Lonzo, when you all really pretty much, as you talk about the nascent from the maturity to the total explosion of it, did you both have an idea just where it was going to go in terms of how it just blew up at that time?
You know what? I can sit right here and give you some hero bullshit. Yeah, man, I know bullshit. I know a goddamn thing. I know a goddamn thing. I can sit here and give you some hero, man. And I say this for a reason, because I get so tired of listening to people trying to say they predicted shit or they knew things. No, they didn't know a damn thing. This whole thing didn't come with no instructions, no roadmap. Nobody had headlights in the dark road. We just felt our way through it, and all of a sudden, there it is. We had the pot at the end of the rainbow. We didn't know it was a rainbow. All we knew it was a pot there, and we all got what we can get out of that pot. So, no, man, we could not see the potential. Well, I'm going to back up. I saw the potential for us getting a record deal in 1979, 1986, 85, because I knew for a fact that based on the success of rap on the East Coast, that they would be looking for a group on the East Coast. I mean, on the West Coast, and that's the one thing I can say that I had a idea that it would be opportunities there, but there was no way I could say that half of my group would go to change the world. Ain't nowhere in the world I can tell you no shit like that.
Man,
especially not these players we're talking about.
Yeah, especially when you know hip hop was known, it was considered at first to be a fad.
Yeah, when I first started, before I started making hip hop records, I was making underground mixes called Z-Rocks and house parties and cut up and things like that. And I was shopping records, trying to shop them records to labels. Of course, they wouldn't give me a deal because they was all mixes. But even then, they man, don't worry about this. It's just gonna be just like disco, because disco died a slow death. You know, once white guys figured that you had to be able to have rhythm to be in disco, the word came out, the phrase came out, disco sucks, because all the clubs, and I was playing in back in the day, the black guys would grab the white girls and fling them around the room like Fred Astaire, and white boys sitting there looking. Oh, fuck this disco shit. This shit sucks. And all of a sudden you start seeing T-shirts. Disco sucks. Oh, wow. And all of a sudden, the whole world, just like they turned on the disco, they turned it off.
That's where the disco started.
That's where it started. I mean, in the clubs, man, because you got to understand, when most of the true discos were in L.A. They were in West L.A., Hollywood, and brothers was hitting Hollywood regularly by that time, and brothers always got that rhythm. And even if the white girls couldn't dance that good, baby, just hold on. I'm gonna make it work for you. And it just got to the point where brothers were showing out. Okay, they were showing out in the club.
Oh, hell no, Tyrone is not gonna take my girl.
Yeah, right. And the white boys, they can put on them tight ass pants, but that don't mean they can do the John Travolta shit. Okay, John Travolta misled all them brothers. White boys said they can dance. Okay, no. This ain't a Rocky movie where you think you can whoop somebody's ass because it's a movie. You got to be able to do this for real. And shortly after that, man,
white dude said, "I know they can't dance too. Rock and roll.
They can't dance to rock and roll. Okay,
we moving to rock and roll."
Yep. And shortly after that, man, the whole world turned against disco, man. Like they did R. Kelly. They canceled it. That was one of the first cancellations I can remember on anything. First time I ever heard a musical genre get canceled, and they canceled the shit out of disco.
Man, oh God, that was hilarious. Because we were too young, King, me and my brother, we were too young to really understand it in terms of where, we were like, still, between, our mom and dad's meeting, and then, just we were still in the universe waiting to come into the earth. It was like we didn't really understand where all the where the change started happening musically in terms of the aesthetics and the trends. When you think about it, Alonzo, from where the street culture was back in the day, because obviously, it didn't the elements of the hardcore streets of LA didn't necessarily make its way in until the 80s. So there was still that party vibe going on in the 70s and the early 80s. Ice-T, of course, will follow behind Schoolie D in 86, with his album Rhyme Pays, where Schoolie D started with Live Saturday Night. And when you started watching the evolution of it from the dress, from the music to the dress, when did you start seeing it on your coast take a harder turn for it in terms of the hip-hop?
As far as hip-hop?
Yes, sir.
About 89. As the owner of Eve After Dark, I started in 1979, like I said earlier. And I remember very, 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 very clearly going to every Friday. Oh, I'm sorry, every Thursday I would go downtown, buy me a new something for Friday night, and Saturday I do the same thing. We just being unknown to go out and buy new clothes on a regular basis for Friday and Saturday night. Suits, slacks, nice coats, nice shoes, whatever the case. But we set the tone for Eve After Dark. We set the dress tone for Eve After Dark. Okay. That was in the very beginning. I left, went to Doodles, went to Skateland, went on tour for a while, came back in about 91. Opened up the Eve again as a teen club. Man, I could no longer wear my suits and clothes. I had to start wearing tennis shoes, jeans, and hoodies because the whole demeanor of the streets had changed dramatically. I'm gonna give you an example. One night it was boys. One night it was a house party. Next night it was Boys in the Hood. Just like that. It changed just like that, dude. It was no longer about partying. It was all about who could we beat up in this sumbitch. It was everybody was trying to be hard ass. The gangs when I first opened the Eve in '79, gangs was about a 10% factor, 90% civilians. When I came back in '91. It was more like 90% wannabe gangbangers, 10% civilians, just like in Boys in the Hood, just like in House Party. Perfect example. I mean, and now I'm walking around the club with 2 security guards just trying to keep a lid on the club till 1 o'clock in the morning, man, trying to keep people from getting jumped on. It was just that. It was that damn. The streets had gotten that damn antsy. It was like everybody wanted to fight. It wasn't about party no more, man. The music has changed. The attitudes of the kids have changed, and I did that for about 2 months, and I left it alone because it was too much. It was too much of a high risk, and that's just out there. And it got worse from there.
You know, and it's wild, y'all, because when you said '89, it kind of threw me. But when I thought about it for a second, y'all, I was thinking about it in terms of where we really started seeing it in terms of where, because when you look at, you said '79. You know, Bloods and Crips and Pirus had already started in the 60s through 73. You know, so that's when we started seeing that come. So 84 is when crack hit. So that's when it really blew in terms of the streets of L.A. You know, that's when we really started hearing the stories about how it got down. Freeway, Rick Ross. You know, this is where you really started having the gangs start warring with each other over turf in terms of finance and profit. By then, it still had not made its way into the musical aspect yet. And to give our audience context on it, when you look at guys like Ice-T, who was, who was from 60, when you look at, Q, who was affiliated with 111, when you look at Easy and Ren, Kelly Park, when Straight Outta Compton came in '88, it opened up, and this is the crazy part about it, when it dropped in '88, because you said '89 was the next year. That's when you really started seeing an explosion. For as wild as Straight Outta Compton was in terms of authenticity, in terms of telling the street life, there was pretty much, and any of you can correct me on it, while the street stories were told explicitly, there was very few mentions of actual gang set. It told a hard story from the streets, but you didn't really hear sets explicitly mentioned. Now, if you were from LA,
so maybe 89, 90. Quick was probably the first one, DJ Quick on the Red Tape, and then shortly after you would hear MC8 make references to Tragnu and things like that. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so it's like we didn't really so this is where the phenomenon for us on the East Coast, because we didn't quite understand it until California broke it down for us, and it's wild, like what you said, Arnold, because Quick was probably the first one because you had, of course, King C, because he dropped his album Act a Fool in '88. No, At Your Own Risk, I believe. No, it was Act a Fool. Act a Fool was his debut. Act a Fool was his debut in '88. He dropped that in '88. But it's like when Straight Outta Compton came, and even 2 years earlier with Ice-T's Rhyme Hayes album, Schoolie D, that predated those two. Those two predated that one album, but Straight Outta Compton, because nobody had heard anything like that, that blew the door off the hinges.
This Easy doesn't come out before Straight Outta Compton.
No, that came.
They had a compilation album first came out before all that shit.
Yeah, that was NWA the Posse.
NWA and the Posse.
That was the first thing they dropped.
Real quick, let me remind everybody, because a lot of people may know the name, they might even know the voice and the attitude, but for anyone who doesn't know, before we go on, Alonzo Williams, if without him, there would be no Dr. Dre, there would be no Eazy-E, there would be no Yella, there would be no NWA. Which leads me to his book. If you guys would like to check out his book, NWA Not Without Alonzo, it's available on all platforms. It gives the true story of West Coast hip-hop. But Alonzo Williams, is that guy who Easy came to him to see what to do. And Dre, he was part of Dre's band and everything. So I just want everybody out there to know that the man you're listening to, he is, he is the roots. He is, the godfather of West Coast hip-hop.
Absolutely.
I know you guys know that. I'm just throwing it out to the audience.
You got to throw it out there for the new heads that's coming in and listening. We got to get them that backstory.
Now you know what? You want to hear some crazy shit?
Go ahead.
As a club owner at 22 years old, on the corner of Avalon and El Segundo, in between Compton, Watts, LA, and Gardena, I had to do a lot of gangster shit to survive.
Right.
I've never considered myself a gangster by no means. But in my era, if you did some gangster shit, you didn't make a record about it. You just did it and prayed that the statute of limitations went by before you got caught. I ain't got no bodies. I ain't going to sit and tell you I'm a super killer. I ain't going to tell you that lie. But it's a few cats know they had problems, and they know why they got problems today. They know why they had them problems. And it just amazes me because I never use that as a calling card of any way, form, or fashion. But as a grown ass man, you got to handle your business no matter what happens. Okay? And I didn't take a bunch of folks with me. In fact, most of the things that I talk about were as far as gangster activity or gangster shit was pre-Yella, pre-Dr. Dre. Because I had to eat 2 years before either one of them showed up. So we'd already established ourselves by the time they showed up. Dre was the last one to join the crew. I think Dre joined in 83. Yella joined in maybe early 83, late 82. I'm not sure. It was a couple of months before we all came together. So all I'm saying is that I never wanted to highlight the negative part of my life. I'm not going to avoid it, but it's not my focus. You see what I'm saying?
Understood.
And when people ask me why I didn't become a part of NWA, I understood from going to school in 1973 and 74 that gang thing is nothing to play with. A lot of guys were prepared to kill and die over the dumbest shit that I thought was some of the dumbest shit. And I was caught up in a situation where I could have got killed or would have had to kill somebody just to go back and forth to school. So for me, and growing up in an era of Compton where if you were not in it, you didn't have to worry about dealing with it. And people would protect you from that situation if they could. If gangbangers of my era saw or about to go do something, and even if I tried to go with them, they would run me off like a scared puppy. Get out of here. This ain't for you. Go. Get out of here. But on the same token, if I had a problem, they would make sure to have my back that nobody jumped on me. They made me handle my own business. Hey, man, that's yours, but everybody going to jump on you. Whether I won or lost. So it was a different time, man. And so when I got wind that two guys that I knew on my team didn't have that same upbringing, wanted to do what they did, I couldn't support that. And that's just me. I was one of them cats. only do shit that I feel that's real, man. If it ain't real, I ain't gonna fuck with it. Dusty will tell you. He been messing with me for a long time. One thing I will not do, I will not step out of my own my personality to appease anybody. That's not what I do, and I will never lie to kick it. So I had to say that for all the new listeners. Man, why you didn't do this? Why you do that? If you look back, if you know like I know, ain't but a handful of people really been successful in that gangster game. They made money in the beginning, but here we are in our golden years, keeping it 100. Everybody past 60. Everybody's knocking on the door of 60 or past 60, and only a handful of folks really got something to show for their efforts from all the stuff they did back in the 80s and 90s. I had to share that with y'all.
No, we appreciate that. We appreciate the lesson, and it's wild, y'all, because King is from North Carolina. I'm in Virginia. Out here, I can. My brother can speak from his side where he started to see it. My side in Hampton Roads, Virginia, we started seeing it really in abundance around the early 2000s in terms of where it migrated over here. But we always listened to the albums. We read the magazines. Shout out to Source, XXL, Rap Pages, everybody. So and that's where we kind of got our education from. So we knew it was serious out there. And now we have a generation of individuals who have no affiliation with it, never lived it, and are trying their hardest to be part of something that is a very real and dangerous occupation. Both of you being from California and knowing people who were in it and being real active in it, what are your feelings about how what you all saw from people living it as a way of life, how it has even become trivialized and, dare I say, even made a mockery of at times?
Dusty, how do you want me to take it?
Yeah. I got it. I'll be quick, and then you could hop in. I come from the era, from the early 90s, so I remember that house party to Boys in the Hood generation. And it was very influential to me. And a lot of us were wannabes, myself included. And it's really hard not to live in L.A. and not know someone affiliated. I have cousins who bang all different sets all over, L.A. and things like that, and relatives and stuff like that. So I know how real it is, just like Alonzo does. And it's really scary that, and I think it's even being pushed more now with this drill culture. I really think it's scary, bro. Back then I knew NWA was, for lack of better words, I knew they were kind of a parody. I knew they weren't living that life. You know what I mean? I knew they lived in Calabasas and things like that, So I wasn't that influenced. But nowadays we're dealing with a generation, and I'll be a few seconds and I'm going to let Lonzo jump in, where they're seeing it on Instagram, they're seeing it on TikTok, and now they're living out this gangster image, this drill image. They're going to grave sites and peeing on the ops' graves, and they're going to the ops' neighborhoods, and they're recording themselves. I'm on 5th and Main. Where the ops at? Where you at? I got my blicky on me. And they just don't realize that they're committing so many crimes. And just because the cops aren't going to get you now, the feds aren't going to get you now, that doesn't mean they're not watching and they won't, get your ass in the soon. But I'll go for it, Alonzo. That was just my take on that.
Yeah, it kind of looks like to me they see it as they kind of look at life as real life Grand Theft Auto, like GTA. You know what I mean? They look at it like from video game lens.
Yeah, great analogy.
You're absolutely correct. I think that they do think this is they've been so desensitized to the acts of violence, they think it's a way of life. And somebody told them it was part of the culture, which I think is the biggest lie ever told. But I think what really disturbs me more than anything, man, when I see veteran rappers still promoting that shit after 50 years, or 40 years, okay? You got guys with ARP cards still talking the same shit they was talking in the 90s.
Knock it off, Pusha T. Like, you're not selling cocaine, Pusha T. Like, please, stop it.
I'm like, dude, why would somebody with, you got guys with major status still talking about grabbing gats and AKs and spraying folks? Dude, what part of this is good for the culture? are you just telling this to my kids, or are you telling it to your kids too? That's my first question. Are you telling this to everybody's kids or just my kids? You telling me you want your kids to go through what you went through. You telling me that you really want your kids to be out here toting guns, carrying guns, worry about ops and shit. You ready? You prepared to get that phone call in the middle of the night where your son or daughter's been killed, or your son is facing life because he killed somebody. That's really something that you feel that has to be a legacy that has to be carried on. And that's the part I can't understand. Why is it that at this stage in the game, we haven't lost enough brothers and sisters to street violence, whether it be hip-hop, gangs, whatever the case may be, and why is the whole violence, association of violence and hip-hop being so synonymous for the past 30 years? And it don't make no sense. You got guys that made millions already still talking the same shit they was talking in the 90s, in the 80s. I mean, 80s and 90s. Come on, man. You ain't grown up yet. Did you peek out? It reminds me of Al Bundy from Married with Children. Al Bundy's whole life.
4 touchdowns in the game.
Al Bundy's whole life peeked out at Polk High when he made that touchdown. He didn't do shit else after that touchdown.
Yeah.
You telling me that since 1994, you ain't done nothing else constructive with your life that you can talk about other than being gang associated? Come on, man. You got to be kidding me. If not, you need to go back and do some other shit. You messed up somewhere on the line. And that's real talk, Doc. Go ahead.
Let me ask you, Lonzo. Because you are, responsible for the creators of the first biggest gangster rap group of all time. Can you tell us a little bit about, and obviously not talking trash, but just tell us a little bit about what these guys were like before they put on the Raider hats and the Dickies and the Lokes?
They were the coolest motherfuckers. They were the coolest, quietest pack cats you want to meet. It's like, I don't know if you guys got kids or not. It's like one of your kids says, "Daddy, I'm gonna be a gangster rapper." They can get out of here with that shit. You gonna do what? Get the fuck out of here with that shit. Okay?
Right.
And again, in my opinion, that's why I was ostracized during that time. Because I'm the only one who knew the truth. You didn't hear from me back then. They didn't stick no microphones in my face. When they was going through all this stuff, nobody talked to me about none of that stuff because they knew I'm the only one that knew the truth. I raised all of them from the time that 17, 18 years old. I think Yellow was the oldest one when he came. Yellow might have been 20, 21, but everybody else came to me as teenagers. And I knew them.
Right.
Like you know your kids, I know mine. Okay?
Right.
And I was the big dog. But one thing I can say that is pertinent to this conversation is that of all the guys, from Cube to Clientele to Dre, Yella, Shakespeare, all of them, right to this day, I have never met any of them daddies, man. I have never met nobody's daddy, right to this fucking day. Right to this day. Now, I knew Dre's daddy, but I haven't talked to this guy since I was a kid. So when it came to me about 2 years ago in Sacramento, that they looked at me, with Yella, looked at me more than just a band member or a band leader. He looked at me as like a big uncle. I never do that. I'm just Lonzo trying to do what I do. So that made me understand when I made certain moves or certain decisions, they resented it more because they looked at me as being more of like a dad. You know how your kids get mad at you? Because you being a parent, you know something ain't right, and you put your foot down, and they temporarily get pissed at you because you won't let them go to a concert, or they can't go out and play, whatever. Oh, my daddy make me sick. Okay, well, that's how a lot of shit happening around here. Because I'm the one that got to make all the decisions. I got all the responsibility. And it was an interview with Dub C and Ice Cube, and Dub C was kind of clowning because I wouldn't let Ice Cube and CIA call themselves criminals in action. Well, at that time, Q's mama would drop him off at my house. I would pick him up from the house. I'm a grown man with a house. I got a kid. I'm a grown man. I'm in the group. I'm having fun like everybody else. but I got a sense of responsibility. I've already had 2 or 3 businesses. I've had people drop their kids off to me on a nightly basis and pick them up and expected them to come home without holes in them or all beat up, and I delivered for the most part on a nightly basis. So for somebody's kids to be dropped off at 15, 16 years old in 1986, and a grown man encouraged them to call themselves or allow them to call themselves criminals in action, man, mamas would kick my ass. You got my baby over here being a criminal, and you got to understand, back then, black mamas was not to be fucked with.
No,
different breeds.
Today, in some cases.
In most cases, okay, right. They still ain't to be fucked with. But back then, it was a different breed of mama, okay? And I knew what I was dealing with. I'm from the same generation. You got me and Q's mama from the same generation. We both baby boomers. So we came up different where grown folks made kids responsible for their act. Grown folks took responsibility for kids in their presence. I would never let them see me smoke weed or nothing else, never, because that's not what you're not my equal. So and I'm responsible for you because you own my property, and there's certain things I can't let you do. I can't let you smoke weed in my house, man. It wasn't smoking weed, but I can't let you do that. I'm not going to let you see me smoke weed in my own house. Because I would let my kids, right now, my kids ain't never seen me smoke before. My son has walked in after I have smoked, but he ain't never seen me smoke. We ain't smoking together. That's just me. I'm a different generation. Right. So those personal rules I have, now we've had a drink together, but there's something about me and my son smoking weed together. I ain't ready for that yet. He don't smoke, so that's a big help. But it's just coming from a different era. Like I say, people, man, I'm a DOS. I'm 386 DOS, man. Y'all on Apple Catalina now. I'm still hardwired a different way, and I got to do things that make me feel comfortable. Sometimes I can seem old school, and I am to a certain degree, but I'm also open-minded. But I know right from wrong, and that's certain things I can't allow youngsters to do in my presence, or I can't let them do. Period. Okay.
If I may, before we continue, I want to ask everyone to check out Alonzo's. I want to ask everyone to check out Alonzo's new documentary that just came out within the past year about the Eve After Dark, a legendary club out here in Los Angeles. It was depicted in Straight Outta Compton. It was also depicted in the Super Bowl when Snoop and Dre and them did their thing at the Super Bowl. You saw Eve After Dark. This tells the real story of Eve After Dark. It can be found pretty much on every platform. And I also want to ask everyone to download the Compton Entertainment Chamber app onto your phone and check out some of the content. Compton Entertainment Channel app. And please definitely check out Alonzo's content there. A lot of stuff coming for the future, and I think you guys will truly enjoy it. I just had to get that out there. Sorry, gentlemen.
Appreciate it, Doc.
No, you're good. No, you're good. One thing about this, you are both of equal importance on this show. You both have contributed heavily. We want both of you, whatever input you have, we want to make sure that both of you feel that freedom. We want you to say what you got to say in terms of, giving your opinions and perspective. This is what we do on the show.
I'm just a hip-hop nerd, so I sit back and I'm enjoying this. I just love hearing the hip-hop stories myself. I will ask everyone out there to check out my channel on YouTube, Dusty Vision TV. Just hit that subscribe button if you like old school hip hop. I also do a lot of content. I have one of my biggest shows is where I interview my friend who's currently doing life in prison, and we have a show every Sunday where we discuss the horrors of prison and prison life and why kids do not want to go down that route. So check it out, Dusty Vision TV. But I want to get back to Alonzo, because you have so much history, bro. Boys in the Hood was recorded. The song Boys in the Hood was recorded right there in the studio that you're literally sitting in right now. I'm assuming that you're in the studio right now.
Well, I'm sitting there.
But can you, can you talk to us about Straight Outta Compton, the movie, because you were depicted in that movie as well. For a few seconds, you were the owner who, quote, hated rap. You were depicted as a hater of rap. Can you talk to us about Straight Outta Compton and, maybe debunk some of the stuff that was in there, including you being someone who didn't hate rap when, in fact, you were a big supporter of rap?
First of all, I got to say I appreciate them for putting me in the movie because a lot of people got left out, okay? Mm-hmm. A lot of people got left out. And I made the final cut. I'm in the movie. They made me the first antagonist, okay? All movies need an antagonist to make it work. And They made me out to be something I did not do, okay? First of all, how can I be a hater of a rap and I'm the first one to bring Curtis Blow, Run DMC, and LL Cool J to California? How can I do that?
Right.
How can I be a hater of rap? But again, it's Hollywood, and Hollywood has what they call a creative license. As long as they tell the story within a dramatic license, dramatic license. As long as they tell the story within some parts of truth in it, they can make me a transvestite, no shit like that. But they can make me they can depict me in a form that would be somewhat true, but not pinpoint true. So, like I said, I'm glad to be in the movie. But again, as far as me being a hater of rap, that's the biggest lie I ever told. Because I'm the one that had all the ideas to create a rap group. Nobody else came up with that idea. I'm the one that created World Class Wrecking Crew. I'm the one that had the label before. But I was one making hip hop records, big records, before we even made Crew Cut records. I'm the one that decided, hey, I'm gonna form my own damn group. Fuck this. And when Run DMC came to Eve After Dark and broke my microphone, I'm like, man, fuck them. I'll do my own group. And that's always been my attitude. If I can't get what I want, I just make it my damn self. And that they following me. I'm not following nobody. So, but again, because I knew I'd had major success with slow records, I come from an era where slow records were king, and what they were doing was not something that was easily accepted, and I just could not see myself going at 28 years old. That's how old I was. I was 28 years old. I can't go from a 28-year-old club owner wearing suits and hard-soled shoes and dressing like a just shy of a pimp to start wearing khaki gear. Raider gear and khakis to sell records. Plus, that's been always the key to my success. Everybody know I did not gangbang. That's always been the key to my success. Because as a DJ, back in the day when I was partying at everybody's hood, that's the DJ, man, he cool. He live over there, but he all right. He ain't with that. That's how they treated me. Whether I was in Compton, whether I was in Watts, whether I was in Gardena, whether I was in Torrance, wherever I was, I always was respected and welcomed because I wasn't a gang. But I played for a lot of hoods. But again, if you came with your respect, if you came respectfully, you got your respect. And a lot of my buddies a lot of my best customers was Crips. A lot of my best customers was Crips. Although I grew up in a blood neighborhood, and when I got my club, although my club was in a blood neighborhood, because they realized who ran it. Man, he cool, man. He ain't with that shit, man. I don't think it's gonna be no problem. And a lot of Crips and Bloods came to the club to party on a regular basis and never had a problem. So it's just my mindset was always different. So when I was in the movie, to see myself being in the movie and being a hater, and along with the fact that every time anybody watched Boys in the Hood, every scene we had alcohol in our hands, which was another big ass lie. We never drank around here. There was no alcohol or weed ever in my studio till I got to my third crew, which was the Sound. Huh?
You said Boys in the Hood, you meant Straight Outta Compton, though.
Straight Outta Compton, I'm sorry. Yeah, Straight Outta Compton, there was, they had us with alcohol, or constantly drinking alcohol. Nobody ever drank around here. I mean, that's a small thing, but also it could be a big thing if people don't know you. They assume we all sat around here and got drunk all day, had a bunch of broads around here fucking. No. It was we had a good time. We had our girls, but it wasn't nowhere near what they projected it to be. And I did a lot more in real life than they put in the movie. I'm the one that got Dre out of jail twice. They didn't mention that when Dre the first time, second time, I got him out twice already. I was tired of getting him out of jail. How him and Easy got together to meet Jerry Heller. Jerry Heller was not in a record record plant with a desk. Easy came to Alonzo to meet Jerry Heller because Jerry Heller was my manager first. He managed me and Egyptian Lover at the same time. And after we got our record deal, I wouldn't sign to Jerry right away because I didn't need him. I cut my own record deal. I saved myself $20,000. And we got our final statement from Sony. We were short about $6,000. And I didn't know how to get that money. And I had Jerry look into it. And when he looked into it, that's when he found out they took out about $1,500 a piece for the union. And when he got that money for us, everybody was happy. Jerry Heller, he could, as far as they concerned, he could walk on water. And Dre had pumped up Easy so much he pumped up Jerry so much to Easy. Easy wanted to meet him, but Jerry wasn't trying to meet him. And the only way he could meet him was to go through me. And that's how it happened. So I've done so much, but nobody wants to give me that credit because if I start talking, they stop being heroes. Right now they're all heroes because they got the money and the recognition. But if I really start talking and get the platforms, you realize who the real hero of West Coast hip hop was, and it's my old black ass.
Well, the fact is, and that's why it's important to do shows like this, because we want that history documented. Because from our understanding of it, Lonzo, and I'm glad that you were able to disseminate all of that history in such a detailed and immaculate fashion. A lot of people thought that Easy was the one in terms of being the hustler, that he was the one that had the money that eventually would finance, them putting it all together in terms of the history for some people, myself included, of how we understood it, was Easy was the one who had the money that ultimately financed it, and then Jerry came in last in terms of when they were tying up the business ends of it. So we thank you for giving us that history in terms of clarifying the order of which everything happened.
Easy watched me make a shitload of money selling records to swap meets and my underground network I created. What most people don't know is that my last job in 1979, I worked for a record distribution company called Record Shack. They were in Compton, and I spent most of my days selling records over the phone to record stores from Seattle, Washington, all the way to Nevada. And when I left that company in 1979, I kept my record list. I don't know why I kept it. I just grabbed the shit and kept on going. And a few years later, when I decided to start making records, those underground mixes, I started calling them my old accounts. And they was glad to hear me. They never saw my face, but they knew my voice. You could tell I got a unique voice. Thank God. So, hey, Lonzo, how you doing, man? Where you been? Oh, man, I'm doing my own thing now. What you got? That means you're going independent. That's the common line for going independent. I'm doing my own thing now. What you doing? I got these records. Well, bring me somebody. Let me see what you got. And I created an underground network that included mom and pop stores, a couple of chain stores, and the swap meets. The swap meets had just started to take off on the West Coast. So once you got the swap meet, Compton swap meet, Mr. Park, that was my dude. Okay, so now I'm selling records. I'm selling thousands of records every week, maybe 2,000 or 3,000, but it's still thousands. Okay, and I've opened up to then my boy from the Erodium swap meet, Steve Yano. He come along. He started buying from me. So all these guys, all these people are a part of my underground network of record sales because my records are technically illegal to sell in the stores. You couldn't find them in warehouse because they were illegal. They were mixes. They were just like mixtapes, but they were off other people's records. And we got the idea from New York, but they were all New York records. So I bought a 4-track recorder, and Yella, and eventually Dre started making these mixes for me. I'd take them, go to the pressing plant, and press them up. And I'd call my people, and I'd start making money. And then on Friday, I'd pay everybody. Easy saw me doing this and wanted to know how he could get in the game. Because he was tired of selling dope. Allegedly, his nephew, whoever it was, had got killed, and Easy knew where his stash was. So I guess he dumped his shit, kept the money, and was trying to figure out a way to do something without getting back in the dope game. So he started asking me a bunch of questions how to get into the record game. He didn't go to Dre. Dre didn't go to him. He came to me. And when Dre went to jail for the last time, I told him after 3 times to get him out of jail, I told him I wasn't getting him out no goddamn more because you don't respect the goddamn law. And my daddy told me that he said, I'm going to get you out of jail twice. First time, because you don't know no better. Second time, you might make a mistake. The third time, you're on your fucking own because you ain't learned nothing. And I did Dre the same way. And he was pissed off at me, but he cut a deal. He cut a deal with Easy to make some beats for Ruthless, or his label, and in exchange for getting him out of jail. But like I explained to Dre and Easy at that time, you can use the drum machine to make all the beats you want. As soon as you push record to record that shit, the clock is on. It's $25 an hour. Okay, that was my understanding. I didn't mind Dre making beats for people, but when you start recording, I need my money, and that's how Easy got into my debt because he ran up a bill about $500 in studio time, and then he wanted to meet Jerry Heller, and Easy was a dope dealer. So he treated everybody like a crackhead. He wanted to give me $20 on $5. I'm not taking those $20 on $500. You got your goddamn mind. And then we went back and forth. We argue back and forth and play games. And Easy, go on your sock and give me my goddamn money. Easy kept all this money in his sock. He kept his chump change in his pocket. No, give me my money. Go to your sock. Take me to the safe. Make a long story short, it's almost too late for that.
It's okay.
Easy.
No, we're good. We got time.
Easy wanted to meet Jerry. Oh, man, I give you your $500. Man, fuck you. I'm not going to let you pay me and not give me nothing on top of it. What kind of shit is that? Okay? And that's how it happened.
Stories, Lonzo, I tell you.
You want to pay me what you owe me to do you a favor. Are you out of your goddamn mind? Don't even make no sense. That was the deal. What you want, man? Give me another $250. Okay? So that's how when Jerry tells the story in his book, Easy paid him $750. No, the motherfucker owed me $500 already. Shit. It wasn't like his $750 gonna be no. He already owed me $250. He owed me $500. He gave me a little $250 to get my attention because I wasn't gonna fuck with him. You been stretching me out for the last long as I owe you. You owe me, but nah, man. So anyway, he gave me the $250. Gave me the $750, and I asked Jerry, "Do you want to meet? Would you take this meeting from me?" Oh no, I don't want to meet with nobody else. I'm good with you and Rudy. At that time, he was representing me, Rudy, and Egyptian Lover. And I'm like, man, do me a small favor. Take the meeting with the guy. If it work out, fine. If it don't work out, just take the meeting because I told him I can make it happen. For you, I'll take the guy. I'll take the meeting. Okay. And contrary to what he says in his book, and if he was alive, I tell him he was alive today. How about when he met Easy, he thought he met Paul McCartney or some shit. I'm like, man, what? And that's the part that everybody's a goddamn hero. You motherfuckers are not heroes. You, man, when he met Easy, he didn't really care for him at first. You know, all that bullshit about met my brother, my son. He didn't really care for him because he didn't understand him. He didn't understand a guy walking around with $2,000 or $3,000 in his pocket, in his sock. He's used to dealing with guys who are older, like me, Egyptian Lover, Rudy from the Dream Team. We all had some kind of business sense. I own nightclubs. Rudy ran a Wendy's over on Crenshaw in L.A. He was a manager of Wendy's, so we knew basic shit that Easy didn't know. And he was a lot younger. And first day Jerry came to me and says, "Hey man, how does a Jewish guy from the Valley manage a group from Compton called Niggas with Attitude?" And I told him very carefully, because he was concerned as shit. So all that, he was really uncomfortable in the beginning, and even after. With all the beginning bullshit with the Cedar Lawrence Tucker, people forget all this shit, man. You know, people forget all this shit. With the problem with Cedar Lawrence Tucker and the Vice President Tipper Gore,
Dan Quayle,
all that shit, man. When you're a rap group and you just want to make music, all of a sudden you become a national story. And then the FBI, man, everybody was concerned with that shit, man. Everybody was concerned with that shit. And then, you know, it was a lot of shit that was happening. Easy stepped up. He started supporting one. You know, eventually they got their support. You know, they started getting accepted after the Rodney King verdict, and "fuck the police" now got meaning. White people understand why they said "fuck the police."
Right.
You know, it's a lot of white people that enjoy revolutionary shit. Fuck you, goddamn right. Fuck the police. It's a lot of good white people out there that will support that kind of shit because they see the man wasn't moving. Y'all beat the shit out of him for nothing. Y'all just happened to get caught. All that right there was a evolution that took place, but it didn't happen overnight. Because even when they first started making their first records were records like "Something to Dance to" and "Panic Zone," produced by Arabian Prince, which just could have been a record crew. Both of them could have been record crew songs. Because they understood that was a sound that was getting radio play. When they finally came with "Express Yourself," that got more video play, but it wasn't until "Boys in the Hood," and they really had some success. But again, "Boys in the Hood" originally couldn't get played because it had so much cussing in it. And again, Lonzo to the rescue. I'm the one that got to go to, because me and Greg Mack is doing doodles. Greg Mack ain't trying to meet nobody. So I'm the one that got to come to me and bring it to me. I took it to Greg. Greg said I can't play it, got too much cussing in it. They tried to beep some shit out. They still left some stuff in there. Still can't play it, got too much cussing in it. So they finally got the version that he can live with, and he played it and it jumped off. And all these things is behind the scenes that Lonzo had, because Lonzo got another relationship. Me and Greg Mack was doing doodles every Friday. All those mixes that I was selling before all the mixes that I was making mixes. We was making traffic jams every day for Greg Mack for 1580 K-Day. Yellow or Dre would make a new mix every day, and my job was to take it up to K-Day. But every time we could make a tape, I'd keep a copy of the shit and turn it into a goddamn mix and sell it at a swap meet. And Greg would give us free advertising for doodles, and now my advertising bill for doodles was no longer existed because we was kicking ass because we was the king of the mixes. We had a commercial before and after the traffic jam at 5 and at 5:15. All they said was, the traffic jam was brought to you by the world-class wrecking crew. You can find them every Friday at Doodles Music Center, 135th and Central. We got 10 of those a month, but that was a week. That was enough to make Doodles crack like broken eggs, okay? And Greg was bringing me acts like New Edition, Midnight Star, whoever was hot.
Remind him who Greg Mack is, Lonzo.
They came to K-Day. They came to Doodles. Huh?
Remind him who Greg Mack is.
Greg Mack was a brother out of Texas. He came to California to start off as a DJ and soon became the program director of 1580 K-Day. And K-Day was one of the first stations to start playing. It came with a 24-hour rap format. And we instantly became friends because I'm in the streets. I just shut the Eve down. I'm doing doodles. And I'm doing these mixes. I'm doing these hip hop, these traffic jam, these mixtapes, mix CDs. Mix 12 inches. And Greg fell in love with them. We could have did to do them every day for the traffic jam. Doodles is rocking, and we got a good thing going on. We got everything. Every record I ever had, I took it to Greg, and before I got on the freeway, he had it on the radio already. It was like that. Because hip-hop was so brand new, you couldn't feed the monster fast enough. And every time shit got slow, I'd make a new record. I started off with Slice, didn't do all that great. When I came with Surgery, and then I dropped Juice behind that one, Juice had all the high school names in it. And the high schools ate that shit up. They loved that shit. Then we came back with Lovers, and next thing I know, we were celebrities. We didn't need to do Skateland no more, huh?
Now we got to ask you this right quick, Alonzo, because we want to get the full context. When you look at K-Day, Power 106, all those radio stations in terms of how the music was marketed back then, and especially because you all in LA, one thing about it in terms of an artist blowing up in the hood is that if you can get your hood behind you, that really gives you that push. And this is already in California, LA Metro, so there's already an entertainment infrastructure there already, especially with what you had established. How big was it in terms of promotions, and how important was it to have a street team behind you, whether directly or auxiliary, that was enabling the music to get out there to the masses?
Shit. Because of our experience with the club, we was our own street team. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And when K-Day came along, they amplified what we did by putting us on the radio. We had commercials. We getting the airplay. We doing doodles. We performing in our own club. We performing K-Day got us performing at their venues, Casa and events like that. We doing all kinds of stuff. So we had the whole city locked up. There's only two groups that was doing anything at that time, and that was Uncle Jam's Army and World Class Record Crew. And we were more K-Day friendly than Uncle Jam's Army because Roger and Greg couldn't get along that well. And me and Greg hit it off. We still partners right to this day. So they would call us to do things. Plus, we'd already been, they called us K-Day boys before Greg even got there, because we was doing all the noon dances at all the high schools before Greg got there. So we had the whole city behind us. Even right now, man, it's amazing. People tell me how, man, I remember y'all came and rocked at our prom, or y'all came and did our noon dance, because noon dances was a big way of promoting back then. So we would go do noon dances to promote Eve After Dark. And street teams was the primary way of getting things done back then, because even radio was expensive as far as advertising. And it just was a different era, man. I remember as a street team, when I dropped the Compton compilation, and me and Unknown, he grabbed Compton's Most Wanted, Chill 8 and Mike T, and he did a single on them. So we went out to the streets of Compton with some cassettes, some 3-song cassettes called I can't think what it is. I got a couple of them in the garage, but we was pulling up on people, man, trying to get them cassettes, and niggas was pulling guns on us. What's up? What y'all want? Hey man, calm down. We got some music for y'all, man. And you just don't walk up to a pack of gangbangers. I thought I could. Most of them recognized me, but it took a second. Oh, that's Lonzo, man. That's cool. But still, in the first 5 or 10 seconds, it was very uncomfortable. But we was able to get it out there, and that's how we broke Compton's Most Wanted, by passing out cassettes in the streets of Compton to all the Crip hoods. And we did posters, we did flyers. All that was our thing, man. That's how we got shit done.
Yeah. Hey, Lonzo, I know you have to wrap up soon. Do you have any last words or anything like that? Do you want to promote anything?
Who, me? Y'all check out my documentary.
Yep. Go ahead.
My documentary on Eve After Dark on all platforms. Check out my channel. Check out me and Dusty tomorrow at 6 o'clock. You can check out some of my other podcasts on my channel, Compton Entertainment channel, available on iPhone and Android, along with the Eve After Dark documentary. It's on there also as well under independent movies. Check out my website, LonzoWilliams.com, for memorabilia, my books. I can do autograph copies. If you want to get an autographed copy of the book, just go to LonzoWilliams.com or hit me on my email, reallonzo.nwa@gmail.com. We'll make it happen.
And that new documentary coming out as well, right?
The new documentary comes out. We hitting the film festivals right now, but the new documentary is called NWA, Not Without Alonzo. And that one shows all my interconnections between everybody from Easy to Tupac. Ain't much came on the West Coast I ain't had my hand in.
Man, wow. This is, the history we got here, this is unbelievable lessons, and cleared up a lot of stuff as well. Because there was a lot there that people, now we do have to ask you this before you go, because this is also a point of contention. The whole thing about Ruthless Records, Some people say Easy owned it. Some people say Jerry owned it. You were right up in the middle of all of this. Who actually owned Ruthless?
Ruthless Records originally started off as being supposed to have been a partnership between Dre, Easy, Yella, and Cube, and Arabian Print. There was supposed to be a partnership, and that was the conversation when I took Easy to my graphic designer, Daryl Davis, who drew all my album covers in the very beginning, Juice, Surgery, House Calls. One brother did my logo, everything. One brother did all that. He did all our graphics. It was supposed to be a partnership. And when Jerry came into the mix, all of a sudden everybody became employees, and Easy was the sole owner.
Gotcha.
Now,
gotcha.
At some point in time, Easy gave up some percentages of the company because he was having some issues with some folks. That my client came on our show a year or so ago and kind of indicated that he gave up some percentages of Ruthless was given up to cover some expenses of keeping Suge in line. So that
Understood.
That was a whole different situation. I wasn't privy to all the information, but that's the general consensus. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah, because that was just a point of inquiry, because we heard a lot throughout the years in terms of, because there's so much history that is told, but then, and we're blessed to know people that have worked from Ruthless and Death Row, but it's also a situation where there's still a lot of stuff because we were not there. We're not from California. We did not engage directly with that time, especially during that time. There's still a lot of opaque elements of it in terms of not being totally clear.
Especially when we had a time where everybody go out there and say anything for traction nowadays, even if it ain't true.
People make up shit just to have something to say in most cases. Like I said before, one thing about me, I got as much as we were talking for the last hour and a half. Y'all still don't know shit about me. I got a whole lot more that y'all. You ain't got enough time for me to tell you everything I know. People always get on me. Man, you talk too much. Man, I've been doing this shit for damn near 45 years. You'll never get all.
I've been doing this show with you. I've been doing the show with you for 6 years, and every once in a while you'll still give me a new story I ain't heard. I'm like, damn, dog. Thought I heard everything.
Nope.
We can do a part two. Part two.
I recently, in Compton, I'm the president of the Compton Entertainment Chamber of Commerce. And we recently got a street named after Eazy in Compton. And the day of the celebration, Dusty will tell you, we had low riders, black, Latino. We had the cowboys out there. We had folks from all walks of life came out to celebrate Easy Street. And
not one fight broke out.
Not
one fight broke out.
Here, I don't know if I told Dusty this or not, but later that afternoon, after we got through wrapping up, we were sitting over in the restaurant kicking it, and the brother walked up to me and shook my hand and said, "Man, that was a good event you did for Easy, man. Much love, Lonzo, whoop, whoop, whoop." He said, "Man, that shit was so dope. I saw the nigga that shot me, and I didn't even trip. In fact, I got a picture with the motherfucker." I'm like, "What?"
That's right.
Yeah, man, I saw the nigga that shot me, and we couldn't fuck up the event. We took a picture together, man. So, and on the other hand, my nephew, who was a cop, he said, "Unc, how did you get all these cats out here? Man, you got rival gangs. SAs that don't like SAs that don't like blacks don't like other blacks, and everybody was out there just chilling. How the hell did you do that?" I said, "Man, you know what? I don't think it was me. I think it was Easy. Because Easy appealed to everybody, man."
When we look at those,
he was a low rider, huh?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Easy, when we think about the legacy, because so much has been said about him, good and bad, but the reality is his impact on the culture was undeniable. And he is still somebody who is revered, who is treasured. He is missed. I tell everybody, don't let the things that maybe weren't so great that were tremendously influential and impactful, together with what you all did collectively, you all brought a revolution in terms of expression that enabled, I would say, and I'm going to go on there and say this, between Luther Campbell and 2 Live Crew and NWA, which is all of you, you all are probably two of the most important and impactful groups in the history in terms of what it meant for expression and for the fight for the culture. I have never seen two groups that were that impactful who really fought for that expression from the black and brown experience to speak for us. Because at the end of the day, can't nobody speak for us except us. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Right on.
Thank you.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate it, yo.
Much love. Appreciate y'all, man.
Thank you guys, man. Y'all are dope. Keep doing your thing, man. Definitely appreciate you guys and looking forward to collabing again soon sometime.
Look, we'll hit you both from our IGs. His is King Era Productions and Off the Cuff Radio. Mine is T-Max NBA. We'll drop y'all a DM. We're following both of y'all. Gentlemen, whenever you want to do a part 2, we're no more than a phone call or a DM away. Thank you for everything. This has been Thank you.
Yeah, we also put the word out to Big Port too, so hopefully we can get you guys linked up soon and y'all can do a collab together with that.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, that's gonna be dope. I'll tell you about that, Lonzo. I haven't mentioned that yet, but yeah, appreciate you, dog. Definitely appreciate you. And likewise, I got any connections you guys need, man.
Absolutely. Appreciate y'all.
All right, folks. Much love.
Again. Much love.
All right.
Peace,
y'all.
All right, peace.
Peace. King, take us out of here.
On that note, we up out of here. We thank y'all once again for tuning in. This interview will be definitely on YouTube this week. And also subscribe to the YouTube channel, Off the Cuff Radio. Follow us on Off the Cuff Radio Instagram. And we out.
Peace. One.
Start your summer road trip at Midas and get up to $30 off your next repair service. Plus, get a free closer look vehicle check to make sure you're road trip ready. If you need brake service, an alignment check, or tune-up, hit up Midas for up to $30 off. For more details, request your appointment at Midas.com.
Sometimes going big means going home with an injury. Life moves fast, and accidents happen. But don't let injuries stop you in your tracks. Schedule your same-day or next-day orthopedic appointment with the experts at Duke and get back to the activities you love. With both surgical and non-surgical treatment options available, we'll have you back on your feet faster. Make your appointment at dukehealth.org today.